Have you ever wondered how your favorite apps just seem to know exactly what feature to build next? It's not a lucky guess, and it's definitely not magic. It's all about making incredibly smart, data-driven decisions. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how they do it. It really all comes down to this one single question. Because in the fast-paced world of building products, you can't just push a change out there and, well, cross your fingers. Guessing is just way too expensive. And while your gut instinct is important, it's just not enough to bet the farm on. You have to know. And this isn't some small academic question. This is the billion-dollar question that the best companies on the planet are obsessed with. Getting this right is what separates the true market leaders from everyone else. The answer means making a huge shift from relying on hunches and opinions to acting on cold, hard information. Here's a good way to think about it. Every single time you change your product, whether you're adding a big new feature or just tweaking the color of a button, you're placing a bet. You're betting that your change is going to make things better. So the real question is, how do you know if that bet paid off? So how do we measure it? How do we know if we've won? Well, this is where the hero of our story comes in. It's a powerful idea called telemetry. And honestly, it's the engine that turns all that guesswork into a real science. Probably the easiest way to wrap your head around telemetry is to think about the dashboard in your car, right? It gives you all the critical info you need at a glance, how fast you're going, how much fuel you've got left. Telemetry does the exact same thing, but for your product. It gives you the vital signs of how people are actually using it. Okay, so if we want to get a bit more formal about it, telemetry is the science of collecting data from your users, wherever they are in the world, and sending it back home so you can analyze it. It's all about getting the real, unvarnished story straight from the source so you can make decisions based on reality, not just what you think is happening. But, and this is really important, good telemetry isn't just about collecting a fire hose of data. That's just noise. The real magic happens when you start asking smart questions in a really structured way, using experiments. And these experiments are built from just a few surprisingly simple building blocks. So first up, we've got the event. This is the absolute foundation. It's a single specific thing that a user does that you care about. Did they click that button? Did they view a certain page? Did they add something to their cart? Each one of those is an event. It's the basic what happened. But just knowing what happened, that's not the whole story, is it? We need context, and that's where dimensions come into play. A dimension adds all the juicy details. So if the event was a button was clicked, a dimension might be the button's color was green, or maybe the user was on their phone. Dimensions give us the who, what, where, and how. And finally, we have the metric. This right here is the scoreboard. It's where you take all those events and their dimensions and you boil them down to one number that tells you if you succeeded or not. This is your conversion rate, your average session time. This is the number that tells you flat out if you won your bet. All right, that's enough theory for now. Let's make this all feel really, really real. Honestly, the best way to see how all these pieces fit together is to just walk through a classic simple experiment. So let's run a little test. We have a simple idea, our hypothesis. We think that changing our blue sign up button to a green one will get more people to click on it. That's our bet. Now we just need a clean way to test if we're right. And we're going to do this with what's called an A/B test. It's super simple. We're going to split our users into two groups. Group A, the control group. They'll see the same old blue button we've always had. But Group B, the variant, they're going to see our new bright green button. And then we just sit back and let our telemetry system do the work. And look at this. This is how those building blocks we just talked about map perfectly to our test. The event we're listening for is pretty obvious. Sign up button clicked. The dimension that lets us tell the two groups apart is the button color. And the all-important metric that's going to tell us who won is the sign-up conversion rate. Simple as that. So we let the experiment run for a little while. We collect all that beautiful telemetry data, and then comes the fun part. It's time to get a clear, totally unbiased answer. The data is about to deliver its verdict. And there it is. The results couldn't be clearer. The blue button, it got a 3.2% conversion rate. Not bad. But the green button, a whopping 4.5%. The data has spoken. There's no more arguing, no more, well, I think. We have a clear winner, and it's backed up by the numbers. Now let that sink in for a second. That's a 40% increase in signups just from changing the color of a button. That's the real power of moving from guessing to knowing. For a business, a lift like that is huge. It can mean millions in revenue or just a much, much happier user base. So you can see this isn't some one-off trick. It's a system. It's a repeatable framework you can use for all kinds of innovation. You start with a question, your hypothesis. You design a clean experiment. You use telemetry to gather the facts, and then you analyze the results and make a confident decision. And then you do it all over again, getting a little bit smarter every single time. I love this quote from W. Edwards Deming because it just sums everything up perfectly. When you have data, you elevate the conversation. It's no longer about whose opinion is the loudest. It's about a team working together to find the truth. And that right there is how you build amazing products. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. These days, pretty much every company has data. Collecting it is the easy part, but just having data isn't the same as having answers. The real art, the real challenge, is asking the right questions in the first place. So, what questions should you be asking?